Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a really fascinating look at what it actually takes to survive Minecraft's ultimate challenge. Think of this as a masterclass in survival, because we're going to break down a highly successful 100-day case study. We'll look at the exact strategies this player used, specifically zoning in on those absolutely crucial early game hazards, because honestly, how you handle your first few days literally dictates the success of your entire run. From that initial paranoia all the way to the final boss, if you've ever wondered how the pros stay alive when the entire environment is actively trying to end them, well, you're in the exact right place.
To really grasp the stakes here, we've got to quickly establish the ground rules. As you probably know, hardcore mode is definitely not your standard casual playthrough. It's defined by permadeath. You get exactly one life. No respawns, 0 second chances, and absolutely no margin for error. The second you run out of hearts, that world, and the dozens, maybe hundreds of hours you poured into it, is just gone. Deleted. It's a massive psychological test of patience, and more importantly, preparation.
And that chilling reality is perfectly captured right here by the player whose 100-day journey we're actually analyzing today. Quote, "If I die even once, everything is gone forever." I mean, just imagine the sheer tension, knowing that a single misstep on a cliff, or just one creeper you didn't hear sneaking up behind you, instantly erases months of real-world effort. It's intense. That underlying pressure dictates every single choice they make from the very second they spawn in.
So, how do you actually survive it? Well, here's our survival syllabus. We're going to trace the chronological evolution of the hazards, starting right at first night hazards, moving into underground spawners, tackling nether fire hazards, surviving village raids, and finishing up with the final boss.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, First Night Hazards. This is the era of absolute early game paranoia.
The literal moment you spawn into a hardcore world, the clock starts ticking. Immediate, purposeful action is your best friend here. Look at these urgent early game priorities from our case study. Day 1, it's all about securing wood, non-negotiable. You have to punch trees, because no wood means no tools. By day 3, the player threw together a dirt house. By day 8, they finally mined iron to craft a sword. And it wasn't until day 10 that they upgraded to wood planks and secured a proper bed to sleep through the night. The pacing here is incredibly methodical. Notice how there's no rushing into deep, dark caves on day 1? It's all about mitigating risk.
And this brilliantly illustrates a key point. In hardcore, you really have to leave your ego at the door. I mean, a dirt house on day 3 might seem a little embarrassing, right? But that makeshift shack wasn't a failure in architectural design. It was a crucial, life-saving tactical maneuver against early explosive threats. Creepers do not care about aesthetics. Even with that shelter, get this. On day 7, a skeleton shot the player through a tiny single block cracked in the wall, instantly wiping out half their health. One tiny gap almost ended the entire run right there. So yeah, mastering early game paranoia, that's what actually keeps you alive.
Moving right along to Section 2, Underground Spawners. Time to deal with those incredibly claustrophobic caves.
Okay, so you've got basic tools. You push into the mid-game, but the danger escalates fast with terrifying spatial traps. That big number 2? That's the exact number of hearts our player had left on day 28. They went mining, accidentally dug straight into a dark zombie spawner. Pitch black. Nowhere to run? 3 zombies swarming instantly. Heart racing. Panic setting in. They scrambled, swung wildly, fought their way out, and barely, literally barely, escaped. Just 2 hearts left. In a normal game, whatever, you brush it off. But in hardcore, that is a massive near-death experience. It forces you to completely rethink how you enter uncharted spaces.
Which brings us to Section 3, Nether Fire Hazards, the game's great filter.
If you manage to survive the caves, your next enormous hurdle is the Nether. Just look at this crazy contrast. By day 31 in the overworld, life was good. The player was comfortable. Full iron armor, robust wheat farms, a nice little cow pen. Food was sorted. But compare that to day 45, when they stepped into a nether fortress. That cozy feeling of safety? Gone. Instantly. The Nether is a totally different beast. It threatens you with sheer vertical drops, sudden lava falls out of nowhere, and ridiculously aggressive mobs. It strips away all that progress you felt you made and forces you right back into that state of early game vulnerability. You go from the master of your domain to, well, absolute prey.
So, the real test is how you adapt when everything goes sideways. Get this, our player actually fell into lava twice during their nether expedition. Twice! Normally, that's an instant game over, but they survived. Why? Because they brought fire resistance potions. That wasn't luck, that was pure tactical foresight. You absolutely must secure fire resistance to survive those unpredictable lava falls, and doing that allows you to safely farm blazes for their rods. Then, of course, those blaze rods are combined to craft the Eye of Enders, which are the mandatory keys to unlocking the endgame. It's like a giant puzzle. Every single step relies entirely on surviving the previous one. Fumble here, and the whole shebang is over.
All right, Section 4, Village Raids. This is where we shift into defensive warfare.
So, what happens when those advanced threats come literally knocking on your front door? Well, here is another incredibly stressful number for you. 4. On day 75, a totally unexpected pillager raid attacked the player's carefully constructed base. And guys, this wasn't just a minor skirmish, it was an all-out war. The player had to fight wave after massive wave of villagers, those magic-wielding evokers, and huge charging ravagers. During this brutal siege, the player almost died 4 separate times. You can just imagine their real-life heart pounding, scrabbling to defend their territory against this highly coordinated assault.
Now, you might be wondering, why even risk fighting a raid? Why not just bunker down in that dirt house and hide? Well, here's why. The hero of the village effect. Surviving these intense, heart-pounding raids gives you a super powerful status effect that offers massive discounts on villager trades. That is the ultimate payoff right there. Securing those top-tier trades is exactly how you get your hands on the enchanted books and diamond gear you absolutely need. It's the bridge between just scraping by and actually being geared up enough to go slay a dragon.
And that brings us to our final stage, Section 5, the final boss.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows how the ultimate test is actually won or lost way before you even step through the portal. This is the exact loadout process our player executed on day 91. Step 1. Brew powerful potions to buff up strength and health. Step 2. Stockpile a massive amount of arrows. Step 3. Gather those rare life-saving golden apples. And Step 4. Equip the absolute best enchanted gear available. See, endgame survival is decided by this meticulous preparation. It's the exact same risk management mindset we talked about on day 1, just scaled up. If you jump into the portal on a whim, you are literally throwing away 100 days of hard work. No way around it.
And all that preparation, it paid off beautifully in the final showdown. On day 95, the player entered the end and right off the bat had to dodge this enormous dragon diving straight at them. For the next several in-game days, days 95 through 99, they systematically, carefully move from pillar to pillar, destroying the end crystals that heal the boss. And finally, on day 100, with that last crystal destroyed, they fired their final arrows as the dragon circled above. They watched its health tick down until, boom, it exploded into light. They had actually done it. 100 days survived.
It's just wild to think about the journey. From a frantic day 1 of punching trees and hiding in a dirt block house, to flawlessly executing an endgame boss fight on day 100. It really is an incredible explainer on patience, structure, and intense risk management. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. In a world where one single mistake means losing absolutely everything, your endgame is only ever as strong as your early game. So how will you prepare for day 1? Respect those early game hazards, master your paranoia, and let's see how many days you can conquer. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.